Welcome to Latina Mic Drop, the podcast where you can show up and show out, where bold moves are not only encouraged but the standard. This is where excellence meets simplicity and common sense. I'm Miriam Simon, your host, a leadership coach, author, speaker, a mom of 3 young adults, a grandma in my 40s, and a spouse to the most beautiful, kind soul, on a mission to empower 1 million people to continue to tap into their exponential power. If you're out there building your own family and your own future from scratch, you're in the right place. Join me as we explore the stories, strategies, and secrets that can turn your hustle into legacy and peace of mind. Ready to transform your life? Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Latina Mic Drop. In this episode, I wanted to talk to you about some statistics that I saw from Lean In organization. I want to talk about the power of joining different groups and having the support of women, how powerful it is to have supportive women and have a supportive group that is there for you, that you can lean on, that you can talk to, that you can talk about what you're going through, get some advice, maybe find a mentor, get a sponsor. There's so many different ways and so many different things that you can get from joining groups. Today, I want to talk about the statistics that being in a small group about female ambition is so powerful. 85% of people will take on a new challenge. 2/3 will change something positive in their lives. That's from Sheryl Sandberg. Just think about that. If you think about that, 85% will take on a new challenge. I mean, that's just amazing. So that's way more than half. Almost everybody in the group will be able to take on a new challenge. So maybe they've been holding on to something or haven't been able to figure out what's the next step, or they've been stuck. And now through the women's group, they've been able to figure out what to do or get some advice or maybe think about what it is that isn't being done, or they haven't figured that part out yet. And then by being a part of the group, they did. And the fact that 2/3 will change something in their lives as well, that's amazing, right? That you can have the ability to change something in your life by being a part of a group. There's so much to learn from different people. I always think about that because for me, one of the major changes, one of the major things that helped me in my career and also just getting to know people within my organization was joining the Hispanic Society. Being a part of an employee business resource group has been pivotal in the way that I navigate my career, in the work that I do, the meaning that I have behind the things that I do, what I stand for, who I advocate for. And now it's just really important to be able to share with you the 5 different ways that being a part of a group has been able to help me. We were mostly women in the many different groups that I'm a part of, especially more recently. But the first group that I really had an impact in, and I learned and navigated my way, was by joining the employee resource group. In the beginning, it was only a employee resource group. And then eventually it became an employee business resource group, meaning that we were able to partner with the organization that we work with to be able to not only do things that were important to us, but also advocate for the things that they can help us with and how we can help them. It was a partnership. And so what I want to talk about first is just building community. So joining a group, one thing that I've always needed to do is build my own community. So as I mentioned before, I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community, and a few family members do not accept or just don't understand my life and how my wife and I of 18 years are raising my 3 kids, which are her kids, they're our kids. And building community has always been important for me because, unfortunately for my wife, her mom and dad have passed away. And I had a lot of support of my grandparents when I was growing up, and my grandpa now has passed away, and my grandma lives in Mexico. I don't have that family support like I used to back in the day. And now, navigating this new career for 11 years now, I needed to figure out a way to build community and find people that I can work with, find people that have the same interest in me, and work in something collective. I love to be able to work with other people and work on a mission, or figure out what the momentum is, right, is so important to me. And I didn't even realize I was doing all of this stuff. Really, it just came out of necessity. And I've always had people, or the unseen anchors that sometimes we come across that we don't even realize are out there. This person came to me who knew who I was before I joined the organization, and he said to me, hey, we have a group that is the Hispanic Society, and maybe you should join the group, get to know some people. And literally, his conversation with me was maybe like 5 minutes. And he had been part of the organization, and for other reasons and for work reasons, he wasn't as involved as before. But that was the one and only thing he mentioned to me. So I said, maybe I should join. Let me go give it a try, and let me see what they're about, and maybe I'll be able to participate, and I'll get to know other people and get to know different people and get to know more about the work that I'm doing and get to know other people within the organization. And so what I did is I joined and I became a member, right? And then after I became a member, I realized that, wow, there were like maybe 50, 60 people that were part of this group, and I was able to become familiar with people in different departments. And now I was able to learn from other people that had been within the organization 15, 20 years, within it. And they were able to show me, hey, these are the different departments. Hey, these are the people that you can talk to. And that's where I was able to figure out, hey, this is my community. This is a place where I belong. This is a place where I can be myself. This is a place where I can speak Spanish without any issues, right? And they understand me, I understand them. There's a place where we can celebrate Noche Buena, and we can celebrate, Three Kings Day, which are things that I missed. I miss celebrating those things with our families, right? And so as you go on in life, people come and go, and our family members sometimes too, they live far away, they have their own lives, they have their own family that they are hanging out with or doing things with. And so for me, it was really interesting that I was able to start to do the same things that I used to do with my grandparents. Now I was able to do it within my organization and within this organization. And so that leads me to the second part of what I learned about being a part of a group, was learning, gain knowledge, right? So I gained who were the key players as well, right? You learn who are the key players. That's number three. And so what I did is, through those key players, they were able to show me and give me knowledge that maybe wasn't available to me had I not ventured out into this group. And the knowledge that came to me was like, oh, this person works in this department. If you need help, you can call that person for a payroll question, or you can call this person for HR. You can call this person for aviation issues, or you can call customer service, or you can call for benefits here. And then that was amazing, because for me, now I was not only gaining knowledge about the agency and how it worked, but then now I was also able to figure out who the key players were. And I had people who could tell me who the key players were, right? And so then all of that led into me being able to do my job better, right? So when I joined, I was an entry level employee. And the only way that I was able to figure out how to do different things were through this organization that built community, gave me the knowledge and the key players of who had that knowledge. And so then that way I was able to do my job better, and I was able to figure out, you know what, I'm having an issue with this system. Who can help me and how do I do it? And these were the people that I would go to and say, oh, you work in this department, or maybe technology, like who can I call to help me with the tech issue, or how do I get some information that I'm looking for, or have this idea, what do I do with it, right? And so these are the important players and the important pieces that sometimes we don't realize by joining these different groups, that you can get the information that you need to be able to do your job better, and you're not going to be as stressed because you're going to have the answers at your fingertips. You're going to be able to go to somebody who can help you. And as I was working my way through the organization, the other part that was really important was the fact that they were in need of filling executive board roles, right? So then I decided to start small, and I decided to go for a secretary position. Then, before you knew it, I was able to become vice president of the organization. I ended up being a total of 8 years with them until I ended up being the president of the Hispanic Society. And so, what that also brought me, which I wasn't looking for, but it happened organically, was it gave me visibility, because now I had a leadership role in an employee resource group, and I was able to now share my information, my knowledge, and let other people see that I was a leader as well. And because of that, people started to see me. In my regular job, I would have never had the opportunity to present or facilitate meetings or facilitate events or be a project manager of, a big project. But through the employee resource group, I was. And so then when I would have the big Hispanic Heritage Month event, I ended up coming up to the podium and speaking. I ended up introducing, I ended up hosting, and that was amazing for me. And even just holding periodical events throughout, prior to the pandemic, during the pandemic, to be able to adjust and learn. I was one of those people that was learning how to do virtual and getting our tech company to come in and help us. And we did the transition. We wanted to make sure that we had momentum, and how could we gain members that were coming and still being a part of the community, because that's the one thing that we wanted to continue to do. And I partnered with a woman who was amazing, and she was the president, I was the vice president. We did that for 3 years, and she got promoted where she couldn't stay in the position that she was in. And so by default, I became the president. And what was amazing was the fact that we had such a great partnership, that everything that we did worked so well. And so then that's where I started to hone in on my collaboration skills, leadership skills, project management skills, communication skills. And all of that led to different senior executives seeing us. So not just seeing me, seeing the president, and then me when I became the president, but then also seeing everybody else that was a part of the membership. We grew the membership to 4 times as many. And we had so many events that we were doing something all the time, every single month, not just for Hispanic Heritage Month. We did so many different things that we were able to become visible. They were like, oh, what are they doing? Here they come again. They're doing something else, and they're partnering with us during the pandemic, and we're doing all these great things. And so those are the 5 main key benefits that I saw by joining a group. So you not only build community for yourself and for others, you gain knowledge as you're going through, leading the organization and getting to know other people. And then you realize who the key players are. And then key players end up finding you too. And then you end up being able to do your job better because you have people who are coming and helping you. And then organically, you end up having visibility because more people are starting to know you, more people are starting to come to your events, more people are starting to benefit from what you offer. Therefore, now more people know you, more people understand what you're about. And because you're offering a benefit to them, you're serving others, then you end up having visibility. It organically happens. And because they see your leadership skills, you have to make sure it's authentic and that it really is serving other people. I never did it for myself. I always did it to make sure that other people had the information that they needed. One, I wanted to make sure that people knew everything that was real, like facts or information that they didn't know. And eventually people started to see that this was the beginning of the leadership that I could bring. And then every time I had an opportunity to volunteer, which this whole role of being a secretary, vice president, president, all of that was volunteer work. Nothing was done during the day at that time, like my work day. Now we're much better at letting employees do that during their workday. But before, I used to do it after work. So I was raising my 3 kids, navigating my career. Throughout all of this time, like 8 years, I ended up getting promoted every year or year and a half. And I ended up having 8 different jobs until the one that I have now. And it was amazing because one year I had to work in New York when I switched from New Jersey to New York, and I had to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I realized how time was so valuable. And so what I did is during my commute in to the city, not to the city, to Queens, to New York, what I would do is I would get on the phone and talk to the president, and we would talk about what we were going to do. And we used it as a working session in the car. So I would just get on my phone, call my friends, people that I hadn't been in contact with, check in with my kids, check in with my wife. And you learn how to navigate, these different things in different ways. And so that was a lot that I learned and gained from being a part of an employee business resource group. And I can tell you that that's actually how I ended up being in a leadership position, because of all of the stuff that I was able to learn during that time. And people started to see me, and it was just amazing to be able to be part of a group and part of something so meaningful that I was able to go ahead afterwards and advocate for another employee business resource group. It took some time, it took years, but it was amazing to be able to do it. And now, this year, since I've decided to venture off into expanding my reach outside of my organization, what I have done is done the same thing. I've looked at different organizations where you may question yourself and ask, what organization should I join? Like who is even out there, right? Who has the same values and can provide what I'm looking for. And so what I offer to you is to take a look at the different organizations within your community first. I went on Instagram and I started to find different groups. The first group that I was able to find was the Latinas 100 community. The Latinas 100 community is how I became an author. And I am so thankful to my publisher, R&P Studios, from Adriana Rosales. She has been instrumental in being able to share my voice and share my knowledge and get the word out about who I am and what I do and add credibility to the work that I do. She was the one that I connected with through LinkedIn, and I figured out that she had the Latinas 100. I submitted my story, and my story was insane because I was going through an uncomfortable day and an uncomfortable moment, to the point where I was crying on my way home on the train, commuting home from New York to New Jersey. Being in the uncomfortable moments are the moments that are pivotal, because you have options. You either can sit in your rut, and sometimes you do, right? You need to go through the emotional piece of it, and you need to figure out how you're going to deal with this. And sometimes they do hurt. It does hurt to get rejected, or it may sting a bit, right? But then you can also think about, now this is what happened. Now what can I do? How else can I make an impact, or what else can I do? And so what happened is that I ended up finding Adriana Rosales from Latinas 100, and I was able to submit my story. She has an incredible community where women and men can submit their story and be part of Latinas 100. I was like, oh my goodness, I have something exactly that I wrote the other day on the train, and I received her last chance email, and I was able to join the community. I have something that I wrote the other day, and let me just send it in. I sent it in to her, and out of nowhere, I hear back from her later on that I'm accepted. And now, a year and a half almost later, it's amazing to think that now I'm actually going to be a 5-time author by the time next year comes. And that community has led me to find other authors and other Latinas who have gone through many different adversities and how they've been able to get through those adversities and be positive. And I've gotten to meet a few of them, and I'm so happy because they are like my sisters now. Just last week, Nancy Acosta, she had her book launch. Adriana does a great job as our publisher and helping us achieve #1 best-selling status. And that was amazing to be part of her launch crew and be able to help her and support her. What was interesting was the fact that she mentioned that this was out of her comfort zone. And just being there to be able to support her and get her to that #1 bestseller, everybody as a community. And it's not just her. I see everybody else thriving and becoming great communicators. Adriana, too. I see what she's doing and how many individuals she is actually helping. It's amazing to me to see her work. Iris, too. So she has a book called Perseverance. Then I have Mervis, who's going to have her book coming out soon. And, we'll wait until it comes out so you can get all the details. We're a community. The other organization that I recently joined was Lean In Latinas. I was able to connect with other people and actually take a trip all the way across the country from New York to California and go to their Lean In Latina conference at the LinkedIn headquarters. Get to meet other people, connect with them. I was able to take on a new challenge, meaning joining a new group. Something new that I'm doing is speaking externally. I realized they have a speakers and coaches group. So I joined the group, and as soon as I joined, they're like, hey, welcome to the group. Are you first time? Come, get on camera and say hi. One of my Latinas 100 sisters was there, and she popped out, and then she said hi to me too. So then we connected, exchanged phone numbers that day, and we've been connected ever since. Really, the difference that it makes to have a community of women supporting you. So many times the narrative is about women in competition, but for me, I really have no issues with that. My wife and I, we've been together for 18 years, and that is the one thing that she and I never, ever, ever, and this is the reason why we've been successful, both of us in our different areas. She's an individual, I'm an individual, but the one thing we have never done is we have never competed against each other. And I can tell you that I have partnered with women instead of competing with them. And I never am jealous of my sisters getting a promotion or being the center of attention. If anything, I'm super excited for them. I'm happy for them. And you know what? There's space for all of us. That comes from a scarcity mindset. If you think that because they get something that you're not going to get something, I mean, that wasn't meant for you if they got it. It was meant for them. So for me, being a part of Latinas 100, being a part of Lean In Latinas, has opened the doors to many other opportunities, to the point where now I've grown my following, and now to the point that I have this podcast. Actually, when I went to the Lean In Latinas, I wrote a letter to myself, actually a postcard, and they mailed it to me. I received it, a couple months ago. It was a reminder, and that's how I came out of my comfort zone. At every single step, you see the common themes, which are you build community. You find people that have like-minded experiences, are supportive, that can help you get through the day, help you get through work, help you get through life. And then you gain knowledge. That first meeting with the speakers and coaches, they had how to do a presentation, how to get speaker gigs. And I reached out to the person. She was like, "Oh, you want the presentation? I'll send it to you." They sent it to me, and then all the that weren't even like supposed to speak, they all were ready and able to help you and give you the information. And I was like, "What?" And then you start to say, "Oh, who are the key players here?" So you start to see these are the people that, they have influence, or they're connected here, they're connected there. And the other thing is that, right, you can do your work better now because they were able to share this type of information and knowledge. Now I can have a speaker's kit that looks presentable, that will be looked at in a good way and not missing any information. And then eventually you end up having visibility, because if you have a voice, you're going to use it. And if you're supported by all these women, you are going to be able to talk. You're going to have the confidence, the psychological safety to be able to be yourself and be able to use your voice for whatever it is that you want to use it for. It's very important to be part of the groups that are important to you, and do your research. Look around. There's so many other groups that I've come across that unfortunately I can't join every single one, because I still have a full-time job, and I love my job and I love what I do, and I love working because I'm still helping many different people in my organization. But I've also decided that I want to do outreach outside. And so then my time is limited. I make time for the things that are important to me, and I make time for those organizations that align with my values, my mission, and what I'm working on. Definitely 1000% agree that 85% of women or individuals will take on a new challenge when being with other ambitious women, powerful women, and that 2/3 will actually change their lives. I'm very excited and happy, and I just can't wait for the future. So in the comments, let me know what groups you're a part of, what benefits you see being a part of their groups. What have you done that has helped you come out of your comfort zone? What have you done that has benefited in your personal life? These are all the benefits: community, knowledge, get to know key players, do your work better, and you eventually end up having visibility. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Miriam Simon. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Latina Mic Drop. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're building something extraordinary together. If today's episode inspired you, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. For one-on-one coaching and more resources, follow me on your favorite social media platforms at author Miriam Simon, or visit my website at Miriam Simon Online. Until next time, keep turning your tattoos into pearls of wisdom and your dreams into reality. Stay strong, stay focused, and let's make history.